Go. Hello, good morning, guys. Let me see. I'm using this new piece of technology called Restream. See if we're going live everywhere. Let's see here. Good evening, good morning, guys. It's a beautiful day in Miami here. It's a bit cold. And we are live here. So that's good. Yeah. All right. Cool. We are live, guys. Good morning. Morning, guys. We're live. We'll be talking how to build 8-figure e-commerce brands. I'll share some of the experience we've had with building brands and selling those, and also with acquiring brands as well. So we just acquired we acquired one brand recently that will be scaling, will be documenting, will be a very interesting process. Good morning, everyone. And that should be very, very interesting. Guys, drop your questions. So as we go through this presentation, guys, just drop your questions below in the comments so that I can help you. All right, I can answer the questions. I can give you I can show you some interesting stuff, guys. All right, guys. So drop your questions, right? Like any questions in regards to. All right. So I see Aaron's already like posting questions. So how big of the factor is the product being in $100 to $200 price range? Big factor in what? How big of the factor? Okay, so how big is the factor? Kind of like how likely it is to become successful. All right, so I think the answer to that question is you can be successful at any price point. You can have like $10 product and be successful, right? Obviously, that would be let me see, show. Oh, nice. All right, so we have it on screen. That's just beautiful. All right, so I have my Mac here. Guys, so yeah, you can be successful with $10 products, right? It just like when you start thinking about like all of these CPMs, all of the costs are going up year over year. So you need to be having like if you're selling $10 product, $20 product, you need to be having some very like emotional product, people that have the viral capacity, because otherwise, how would you get clicks at a low enough cost so that it's still profitable for you? Right? Or how would you get the CPMs, so low that, you're getting those clicks and it's still profitable for you, right? So the price point is pretty much the competitive advantage that you have. Guys, make sure you like this video so Facebook gives it and YouTube gives it some love, and we can reach more people. We can help more people here. So I see some very good questions coming in here. So, I mean, I personally prefer like $100 to $200 price range. However, like with, for example, we've got this brand, e-commerce brand that we have purchased, and this brand, the price point for those like $65, right? So it's not $100 to $200, but then it's apparel, right? So apparel is good because you're not only buying it once, right? But let's say every like month or every few months we introduce a new collection, right? So people buy from there. And so pretty much kind of like the lifetime value of that customer accumulates over time. So it's either you can be like as profitable, obviously you want to be as profitable as possible on the first transaction, but at the same time, you can have a business where customers buy again and again. And this is how kind of like the math makes sense, because you get the repeat purchasers or you get the subscriptions, and then at the end of the day, you're profitable. Guys, let me know if that makes sense, right? So it's either one or another. Doesn't have to be $100 to $200 price range. I personally like it. That's how we made most of our money, like in that price range, having better margins. But at the same time, we didn't have a lot of like repeat purchasers. If we had more like repeat purchasers, then we probably would have made it happen with lower price point. And so that's what I would recommend. So whatever price point you feel comfortable with, go with it, right? Obviously, just understand the barrier of entry, understand the competition, and understand the whole kind of like business model. Because if you want to sell your brand for like 8 figures, then you got to have something that would allow you to scale, right? There's like only, I believe, only like 0.4% of businesses ever like reach like 8-figure level, right? If you reach like 8-figure, like 4% of businesses, only 4, like 1 out of like 25 businesses ever like reaches the 7-figure mark, right? So guys, if you already have like 7-figure business, you're already like outlier. If you're already like 8-figure business, like you are like outlier, like very, very like outlier, right? It's like one of like, maybe like 100,000 businesses in the world at that level. So you're already at an outlier level. So I'll cover other questions here. How to do organic marketing. I'm not like professional in this. Like I'm not expert in like organic marketing. I'm more like paid advertising. You can buy the impressions and make it work. So won't be able to answer that for you. I just want to have. All right. So if you do TikTok ads also, we haven't really like dialed into TikTok ads. We have some people in our community, e-commerce scaling secrets guys, like the best community for e-commerce entrepreneurs. We have some people in our community that have figured out TikTok ads that they're doing, $200, $300, $500,000 per month on TikTok. But personally, we don't do TikTok ads yet. What we're focusing on right now is the Instagram, like Instagram influencers. So with this new brand that we've acquired, we're focusing on Instagram influencers. We're focusing on the paid acquisition, the Facebook side, all compliant, all clean. We don't want to be playing with policies, with banned accounts, stuff like that. So if you're still like playing with policy, if you're like selling products that are like gray hat, guys, that shit is going to end soon. Like I've heard from our internal contacts at Facebook that Facebook, like whatever you have now, Facebook will become even more stricter. Like Facebook will become very, very strict on kind of like bad user experience, bad quality products, drop shipping, from China, like with, long shipping times and low quality products. So you got to change, you got to evolve, you got to sell more compliant products. So we've made that adjustment in our business as well. So that's why, we're getting into apparel, very clean, obviously very competitive, but very clean, all compliant with the policy. And that's the way to go, guys, because otherwise you're just like playing you're playing the battle that you cannot win. So guys, let me know if that makes sense. You got to move in that direction, sell compliant products, and just play by the Facebook rules, right? Because at the end of the day, they'll figure out like what we're doing. They always figure out, okay, so how we're farming the pages, the accounts, the DMs. We can still operate with that. We can still make good money, but it's not sustainable long term. All right, so very good question here. What's the most important thing to think about to make the transition from the normal dropshipping to branding dropshipping? The most important thing is like, just think like what you're like, just think about your customer experience, right? That's the most, like, that's number one thing, because pretty much that's all about it. What's the difference between, let's say, Apple and some, like, I don't know, some computer that you buy like on AliExpress? I don't know. So what's the difference, right? Difference, obviously, this perception, like product quality, right? User experience, customer experience. When you have some questions, you can reach out, you can book an appointment in their store, you can get feedback, right? So pretty much the customer experience that makes all of the difference. So there's only like few things that you can improve. You can improve the product quality itself. You can improve the packaging. You can improve the shipping, right? And you can improve the customer support. So pretty much these four things. If you improve these 4 things, you have a brand, right? So we have guys in our community like Lean Nadav, other guys like Vlad, like they're doing $300, $500, $1 million per month, even like more than $1 million per month in revenue, and they still ship stuff from China. So you can still ship stuff from China, feedback score like 4, 4.5, and you can still make it very successful. if you just have good quality product, good packaging, decent shipping times. I mean, if it's like 10, 12 days, like now during Q4, probably like USPS will ship like in a week, right? So it's not much worse than like USPS shipping from 3PL here. And then you need to have the customer experience. If customers have questions, you're helping them out. You're putting all of the resources to help them kind of like use the product with the most capacity, all the training videos, the tutorials and stuff like that. And so pretty much if you put these four in place, you have a sustainable business that you can grow to like 7-8 figures and you can sell it. You have a sellable brand, because when the potential buyer will ask you, okay, so what are your numbers, what's your customer experience, start evaluating it. And if they will see that product quality is not good enough, people complain, there's high return ratio, there's high dispute ratio, that lowers the value of the business, right? That business would be a lot harder to sell. Guys, let me know if that makes sense. Let me know if that makes sense, guys. All right. I mean, what's up? What's the most important factor, in your opinion, to create something long-term in USA market? To create something long-term in USA market. I think it's the same factors like everyone, right? There should be like a product market fit. So if you are selling, for example, let's say you're selling supplements, right? In US market, which is extremely like competitive field, right? So let's say you're selling supplements. I'll share my screen here. I'll show you some examples, guys. Let me know if you can see my screen. Let me see. Maybe we can do it like this. Oh, wow. All right. So let me see like this. See like this. Let me see like this. All right, cool. Yeah, let's do it like this. So guys, let me know if you can see my screen, right? So let's say you're selling products in the US market. I always like to think from the perspective of like US market is very good in terms of like the buying like capacities, like 300 million people, people making good money, and also they have access to the credit card. So the buying capacity is really high. But at the same time, that predicates the competition, right? Because if there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of people jumping on that opportunity, and obviously that leads to higher competition. So you can see, for example, this is just like one category, like MCT oil. You have like 381 brands selling like MCT oil, right? Some of them like repeatable, but let's say like 200 brands that are selling pretty much like the same product, right? So obviously like it is very competitive from that perspective. But what you need to do and how you need to think, okay, so let's say if I'm getting into this very competitive market, I need to create for myself the blue ocean, right? And so what is blue ocean would be here. Like, so let's say if you were selling, if I was getting into this market, let's say I would get like in the MCT oil market, what I would try to do is I would try to create a separate like category. And separate category could be just like renaming something, right? So for example, like you can see here, like this one here is called Brain Octane, right? Doesn't say, okay, so this is like MCT oil, but this is like Brain Octane. So I would call myself like 10x productivity like MCT oil, right? So or hyper productivity MCT oil, something like that, right? Something that, okay, so what is this hyper productivity? It doesn't look like any of these other options. These just say like premium MCT oil. See, it's kind of like, it's like copy paste. It's like premium, like pure source, 100 potency, like premium MCT oil, like unflavored, organic. I mean, this is all very like vanilla, right? So you gotta create your own category, just like rename something, focus on like, create a separate category. Like another example here, like this is very good example, Javi coffee, right? So you can see they've called it the microdose 30x liquid coffee concentrate, right? Because if you're getting, let's say, into category of Let's say you're getting like cold brew. Like, I mean, if you're naming your product like a cold brew, then you'll have a very hard time competing like Starbucks, right? Like brands that are like dominating that stuff, right? So if you're getting into like US market, this is what you have to keep in mind. You have to keep in mind the competition that you will be facing, right? Because there's a lot of other brands that are selling like similar products. So this coffee here, it's called Boss Coffee Japanese Flash Brew, right? It says Flash Brew, right? Like this is another example. Like Flash Brew, it's not called cold brew, it's called Flash Brew. Like what the fuck is this? Like what is like Flash Brew? It's like interesting. So okay, so let me try it. Let me try because this is something new that I've never like Flash Brew, whatever that is. Okay, so I want to try it. It looks interesting. So this is what you have to think about, right? You have to think about the competition that you'll be facing, and then create your own category, rename it, create like unique angle about your product that that your competition doesn't have, and then just focus all of the kind of like messaging on that. Guys, let me know if that makes sense. Guys, let me know if that makes sense. All right. Good question here. How many products do you aim to hang with your apparel? It's a good question. I mean, as many as humanly possible, as long as it makes sense, right? So, like, as long as it makes sense, a new SKU that we introduce, new product that we introduce, allows us to have like bigger revenue and still not damage the profitability and still like not impact the kind of like the business. Obviously, to make the business more complex, but something that is let me show you guys here, right? So this is for example one of the brands. This is one of the brands, let's say, in apparel, like similar niche that we just entered, right? So you can see, right, how many categories, how many types of products are here, right? You have the bras and tops, and you have the bottoms, you have the jackets, you have the accessories, you have just like best sellers here. How many best sellers? Like 100 products just here, like 100 products just in this category, just in best sellers. You have also like new arrivals. How many new arrivals are there? Like 420. Like 420. Like these are all like different like SKUs, different types of products. You can see like in different categories. Even there's a category of gifts. And so if you start thinking and reverse engineer now, this is 9-figure brand. I mean, this brand does like $200-300 million in revenue a year, right? So if you start thinking, okay, so what is the structure that the brands that are doing like humongous volume, like brands that are doing, let's say, 9 figures are doing, right? So they always have multiple SKUs. It's not only like one SKU. It's not only one product. Like this like one product store, it's a nonsense, right? I mean, obviously you can get it like to 7-figure level, but it's will be very hard to get it like to 8-figure level. So if you want to build like a brand you can sell for like 8 figures, so you want to have like a brand that does at least $10 million in revenue, then you will have to expand your product list. You'll have to expand this SKUs list. So how many products do we aim to have? As many as humanly possible, as long as the business is still functional. It's still like, as long as we don't break the business and we have enough human resources to support kind of like that number of products. We have sufficient capital to have in the inventory, right? So for the first year, we probably have like, I don't know, probably like 50, 100 SKUs. I think that should be, but that is like, let's say the color, right? So we have the color, let's say it's like leggings, right? So leggings can have like 4 different colors, the same model, but 4 different colors. Now, there's like 4 different, products pretty much, right? So now, and each of those would have different sizes. Now, each one of those would have to have the inventory, right? So we have to plan it ahead. We're currently hiring, by the way, guys, if you know anyone who's been in operations or branding or director of e-commerce of like fast growing like 8-9 figure brands, We want to hire you. If you know anyone, send them our way. We'll pay you for the referral if we end up hiring them. That is, a well-paid position in a fast-growing company. So being part of that growth, like the brand that we have purchased last, like up to date, it generated like $300,000 in revenue. Next year, it will surpass 8 figures in revenue, right? So it will be very fast, very like kind of like exponential growth that someone who has experience with it can help us to achieve, and also just being part of that massive growth. So if you know anyone, just send them my ways, guys, and I'll send you a very nice gift and a referral fee for sending them our way. So okay, so I have a question here. Should I verify the website domain with BM we're on ads, or verify it with another BM and then get partner access to run ads on different BM on that account? Is a good way to protect assets from restrictions and avoid losing pixels, domain, etc. Now, if you have this kind of like structure, if this is even like the question that you're asking, it means that you're walking that line of like compliance, you're right, and you're trying to kind of like to bend the rules and just like find these like little loopholes, right? And with our business, we lived in like loopholes for years, and that's not the best place to be. So I think the real question like I would ask here would be, okay, so how do I go from this mode? Because there are a lot of people in our community, like in e-commerce scaling secrets community, a lot of people that advertise like with one BM, one ad account. Or they might have like few ad accounts within like the same BM. They sell compliant products. They don't deal with pages. They have feedback score like 4, 4.5, 5. One page, few ad accounts. Everything is clean. They just focus on the strategy, focus on the content, focus on the creative, and they're doing like 7 figures per month, right? So that would be the real question I would ask. Okay, so how do I get into that kind of like, how do I do business that way, right? How do I do business where I don't have to worry about like which domain to verify or with which BM like to place a pixel on, or how not to lose a pixel. So I would start thinking maybe I should just kind of like up my game, right? And run ads in a clean way, get a BM, right? I mean, you can get like a profile of like family member or friend. You can get it from them and use that BM like fully compliant, fully clean, and just build business from there. Guys, let me know if that makes sense. Like all of these things, I mean, we help our clients to overcome these different things, but I mean, where it goes pretty much is, it just gets more and more like sophisticated, because we're fighting against the machine. We're fighting against like, engineers, like software engineers, like in California, that are getting paid like $150,000, $200,000 a year, like very well paid, very smart people. They're trying to crack down. Okay, so like, how do we identify drop shippers without even like, kind of like seeing their website? So they create all these automations that detect it. Okay, so let's say if 1,000 people have seen your ad on Facebook, and like, let's say 100 of them said like, hide this ad for me, or something like that, right? Or they just like didn't click, or their experience was not the best with an ad, and Facebook would take this into consideration. And if the same trend repeats, then your ad account goes down, your page goes down, and all of the resources, like the whole structure, starts to collapse, right? Because Facebook, again, is getting smarter and smarter, guys, and in a few months from now, it will be even more difficult than now. You'll have to like create these like different structures. So the solution here is just to sell products that are compliant. Being like more open-minded. Okay, what type of products you could sell, right? And then just start building your business from there. Because this structure was like building business managers and ad accounts and pages and churning pages. I mean, we've churned probably like 5,000 pages, like with page goes down, like we just churn it. Page goes down, we churn it. Page goes down, we churn it. And we just replace it with a new one, and then generate another like $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 with it, and then new one. And so, but that approach is not sustainable long term. That's why, I would recommend kind of like evaluate maybe you should sell something more compliant. Maybe you should sell something that is not as aggressive, so you don't have those issues with Facebook constantly. Good quality product, reasonable shipping time, good customer experience, good packaging, and you should be on the way to build a brand. Let me know if that makes sense. Another one here. Do you recommend a clothing niche possible to build brand in this niche? You can build brand in any niche. If you think about it, like you will still, I mean, it's possible, right? But you just have to consider a competition there. So when we're getting into, and I think we're still like under we didn't see kind of like, we always underestimate the competition and how big it is, right? Like, so we always like underestimate how much effort it will take to get traction in any niche, right? But that being said, like, I mean, if people are buying clothing, right, they will buy either from you or from someone else. That's the only question, right? Because they're still buying the clothing, they still want to be part of something, they still want to buy the clothing that either like elevates their social status, right? Or just, I mean, for practical reasons, they buy the clothing, but they will buy it like one way or another. The only question is whether they'll buy from you or from someone else, right? So if you start thinking from this perspective, okay, so how to make them to buy from me? That's the only question you should ask. Okay, now you start thinking how you can differentiate from the competition. So that is the thing with all of these. People talk about product saturation. Product saturation is fucking nonsense. It's nonsense because, you know, products like, is iPhone saturated? Is iPhone saturated product? Or like, is Rolex watch saturated product? Been here for like 100 years. Is that saturated product? You know, dropshippers would already like drop these products. It was, oh, I mean, there's like too many people having iPhones. We wouldn't sell them. Like, oh, it's like product died. People say like product died. No, your marketing died. I mean, your strategy has died, or you didn't have a strategy in the first place. So start thinking how you can differentiate. If you're entering these like saturated markets with a lot of competition, obviously there are some markets that are very, very competitive. Clothing is one of them because you have all of these stores. You have even like Shine, right? Like Shine is like massive, massive business. Let me show you guys here. So check it out. So Shine, for example, right? Massive business, right? Like shipping from China. I mean, it's very long, very slow shipping times. But it's, I mean, at the same time, you know, the prices are very low, right? So the price is very low. The goal is like humongous volume with these products, and they make it work. It's $1 billion company, right? So this is like, if you're going into these kind of like niches that are competitive, like clothing, like this niche is very, very competitive, but you have to think how you can differentiate, how you can create the message of the brand that people can resonate with, and people can buy from you just like based on that message, right? Because at some level, I mean, obviously you can differentiate by product quality, you can build kind of like better quality product, but at some level it will be just the message, just the perception of the brand. For example, like Gucci, right, or Prada, or like Louboutin, right, like the shoes Louboutin, or like Louis Vuitton. I mean, all these brands. If you start thinking, okay, are this like, is it possible for them to build brands in that niche? Like, I mean, obviously, it's like, you know, it's very competitive, and like Christian Dior, like, and all of these brands, or Burberry, all of these brands are $1 billion brands, right? So there's like, and even if someone like enters that kind of like niche, they can be successful, but they just have to understand how they can differentiate, right? How you differentiate from other people in that niche, whether that will be your design, whether that will be like your controversial marketing, whether you'll go after like a certain niche and you will understand their language and you'll speak directly to them. Like, for example, maybe that's a brand for like clothing specifically for like pregnant women, right? Or, for example, clothing for people that are like overweight, right? Or clothing even not for like overweight, only for like overweight people, but maybe for like Asian people who are overweight, right? Maybe that's your niche. Maybe that's where you get the initial traction, and then you can expand from there. And so you have to think how you can differentiate with all of the other brands that are on and especially those niches that are very competitive. Guys, let me know if that makes sense. Right. So the question is, people buying more from branded stores and general dropshipping stores? I think people buying from those, or from both. It's just like general dropshipping store. It's like it's hard to so. For example, could you compete with Shine, or could you compete with with these type of can you compete with these price points? Can you compete with if product cost, let's say so here, let's say the product cost is $74. It's cashmere, right? So it's quite expensive to even make. Can you compete with this, right? So people buy in both, right? But whether you kind of can make a business from it, it's a different question. I know a lot of people who've been operating general drop shipping stores with hundreds of products, thousands of products, just testing products every day. Those people now in a big trouble. I mean, they don't do like 2018, 2019, 2017, 16. I mean, those people made a fortune. It was a good timing then. But now it's getting just okay, CPMs are just that high that if you're selling $19 product, I mean, you need to sell a lot of products to make it work, and also you need to be selling. You need customers to come back and buy again. And so once you start thinking from that perspective, then having a branded store with better quality product, better messaging just makes a lot more sense than just churning and burning a lot of products. Guys, let me know if that makes sense. So the question here is, do LLA audiences still work now after iOS update? I have no idea. I have no idea. My media buyers know. If you're still working on your ads, then I mean you gotta have a media buyer who does that. Obviously it depends on your volume, but if you do at least 7 figures in sales, at least $100,000, you gotta be training your media buyer. These tactics, I mean, it's a full-time job. LLA audiences, and pretty sure I can show you let me see. Maybe guys, I'll show you inside of one of our ad accounts. Let me show you something, guys. Show you. So lookalike audiences. Let me see here. Do we have any lookalike audiences? All right. So here, okay, so let me see here. Guys, can you see my screen? This is one of our ad accounts. Show my screen. Guys, can you see my screen? All right. So yeah, here for example, right? So $111,000 spent, and I haven't managed a single ad here myself, right? Because it's pretty good through us here, because this one we're at 2.5 on average. And so whether it's it has lookalike audiences or not, I have no idea. I know that in August, September, we've done very well with lookalikes. I can ask my media buyers, but I mean the question here is more again, kind of like you got to ask the question differently. How do I put myself in a situation where it's like I don't have to know that because this is irrelevant? Like, I don't know any lookalike audiences, and lookalike audiences, whether they work, I don't know. But somehow sales are being generated if you put smart people in place, right? So if you start thinking from that perspective, how do I, first of all, focusing on important things like messaging, focusing on important things. How do you build a brand? How do you identify your blue ocean, your competitive edge? Like I showed you, like with this coffee, with this like new categories that you could create in existing markets that are very competitive. And so once you dial that stuff in, then all of these like lookalikes and targeting options become less and less important. You just find someone who's more like technical, who likes to play with all of this stuff. And this is how you build a figure brand. You cannot build a figure brand like sitting behind your laptop and just trying to kind of like figure out the audiences and targeting, right? So guys, let me know if that makes sense. It's not advice you would hear, like YouTubers would tell you, like, hey, like click this fucking $5 ad, like duplicate it 50 times. Like that's just stupid. I mean, if you're playing those games, then I mean, initially you do it, right? Because you need to do it. But then if you've been doing this like 2 years ago and today you're still doing it, then something is off and you have to evolve. Guys, let me know if that makes sense. Do you think good is a good investment to create a brand with existing product? You can also find Alibaba or AliExpress, which is not worth it. Better to do cash with drop shipping and then invest a lot in custom product design, buy the patent, etc. You can definitely do like extremely well with like products you can find on Alibaba or AliExpress. I give you examples. So here, like this brand. So if you look here, right, like this brand, I mean, a lot of these products, if you look like really hard, you probably will find on Alibaba, right? You can, like, maybe not all of them, maybe some of them are like custom design, but you can just like get a product like this one here, like Zip Hoodie. Like you slap your logo on it, right? So there's a logo here, as you can see, right? You slap your logo on it and it becomes your private, like your branded product, right? And so you definitely can get to like 8-figure level by just like leveraging the existing products that already exist. You just put your logo on them and market, right? This is what you'll have to figure out. So, and then like, I mean, from there, like you already build, like you can still have very, very happy customers with that, you know, with very like standard products from AliExpress and Alibaba. If you just like obviously improve your customer experience, packaging, product quality, and the shipping time if you can, right? So if you improve these, you have a very, very good foundation for a brand. And from there, like you get all of the customers, and then you can start introducing new, more custom products that have higher barrier of entry so that your competition, if they want to copy you, they simply wouldn't have those resources. But you can definitely get very good momentum just by selling these products. For example, the brand that we have acquired, the products are, you can get the products. You can get the products on Alibaba. We just put our logo on them. We make sure we verify the quality. Quality assurance is hyper important, guys. You got to verify that the quality on the products is actually very important, very high, right? So then you get the repeat purchasers, and you can build a brand from there. Guys, let me know if that makes sense. All right, so best website to buy reinstated ID verified Facebook profile. Guys, just comment ban below this video. One of my team members will reach out to you. But again, you know, we can help you to get all of those things, but it's not sustainable setup. It is not sustainable setup, and one way or another, sooner or later, it will. You know, you got to evolve. You got to move your business farther. You got to build a real brand. Position yourself in new quadrant, like Volvo has positioned himself as the safest. Exactly. So who said that? It's a smart thing to do, right? You have to differentiate. Okay, so safest. Now it's kind of like the positioning that you create in customers' mind. That all right, you can get all these like other cars. You know, they're good. But if you wanted the safest, you got to get Volvo, right? Like, so now you're creating that positioning in customers' mind for the product that you sell, and that's why how you get like this is how you get like traction in those saturated markets. You have to kind of like find your own mountain within like that whole market, and just like, okay, this is it. This is my mountain. You want those like other products good, but if you want this, then this is it. We're the best at it for this specific like category. Guys, let me know if that makes sense. Do we also have to expand our ads in order to reach 8 figures? Your like foundation, right? So if you start thinking about the like building, let's say, 8-figure brand, the foundation will always be this, right? The positioning, the blue ocean, right? The category that you're in, like kind of the margins, right? Like this would be the foundation, right? That's why we started this foundation. And then on top of this, like you have all of the marketing efforts. Like if you figure out, let's say you figure out that, okay, so I'll show you an example, right? Like exactly what we have covered. Like if you, let's say, so even like this brand that I showed you, the Javi, like these guys are doing very good job here. So you can see, right, they created this whole like their own like niche, right, within this like very competitive market. So you can see they're doing pretty well within that category, which is like competing with huge brands like Starbucks. So you can see they're number 5 in that category. Number 1 is Starbucks, like unlimited fucking budgets, like unlimited, right? So they're already number 5 here, and that happened. You can see how fast this happened because they created this like blue ocean. They introduced, does it show here? When the product was introduced, I think the product was introduced like 2019 or like 2020 here. And they have, yeah, so let me see here, questions and answers, like reviews, most recent, probably like a year, right? Like a year or two, let's say like 2 years. And they're already like number 5 in this category. It was like brands like Starbucks. It was like dominating that whole category for like years. And brands was like unlimited budgets, right? So if you start thinking about this now, so once they have identified that like blue ocean, right, then they can reflect the same message, and on advertising side to scale the ads, it will be pretty much just reflecting that same message, right? So you can see here, like I will never go back to my old coffee, right? Because now they're differentiating, like, okay, so you can drink like a regular coffee, right? Or you can use this. You can drive like a regular car, or you can drive the safest one, which is Volvo, right? You can go to Starbucks, right? Or you can get this and you can get it anywhere and it will be cheaper and it will be better coffee than in Starbucks. So now once you have identified that message, now this is where your ads start scaling, right? Ads like scaling ads is not some like magical like thing where you click a few buttons and it's like, and you use some like secret lookalike audience and people sell you this like garbage software with like hidden audiences like that no one targets. Like no one targets. Like let's be very quiet and let's target this audience. And then like, the sales are just like coming in and make you like a billionaire like overnight and buy you like a yacht and a private plane. This never happens, right? So like this happens by focusing on the fundamentals, right? Okay, so what is the message? What is your fucking blue ocean? What is the positioning of the brand? What part of your customer's mind like do you focus on? How do customers see your brand? Like Volvo sees the safest, like Mercedes, like or whatever is like innovative, like newest technology and stuff. BMW is like sporty, like you want to like burn the tires, you buy the BMW, right? Or you want to burn the tires and you buy the NG, right? They're fighting for a similar segment. So if you start thinking from that perspective, you put that foundation, then scaling the ads becomes actually easy, because like now you have the message that resonates with your customers. Now it's a matter only how you communicate that message, and that will be your creative game then, right? So if you start kind of like layering all these things from the bottom, a lot of people start on the top, like which tactic I should use on Facebook to scale my ads. And you go back and you start building it from scratch. Okay, so what is my competitive edge here? Which audience I'm targeting here, and how can I differentiate from other people? How I can create my unique positioning in that niche? How I can create my own blue ocean, my own category that I will completely dominate. Guys, let me know if that makes sense. Do you have stock for your product? Don't have many stocks for demand forecast, returns, how to sell our products, leveraging influencer with selling angle use. Very good question. So yes, we do. We just should send like 3 large packages from through like DHL, because we want it fast for the Q4. We still want to leverage some of the Q4, so it takes like 2 weeks for us to get it delivered. How do you manage stock demand forecast? I mean, this is like new game for us. We've been drop shipping for so long time, so we are getting we're hiring for someone who will specifically specialize in that, who has experience with supply chain. So pretty much what we are doing is we're buying all of that experience. We're buying like experience of someone who has already done that, because we don't have time to kind of like figure out from scratch. And so with demand forecasting, with like returns, I mean, the returns are 3PL here. We'll have 3PL, shipping travel like United States. And then we might have a hybrid model where, let's say, we ship to US customers, we ship from Delaware, from our 3PL, and then to other countries, we ship directly from China. And it's like with Unexpress or with other options that would allow us, let's say, 10, 12 days, which is not horrible. Product quality is good, so we know that the product arrives to the customer and customer sees it, the customer feels it, customers will be happy with it. And so that is our approach there, to have like more like a hybrid model, which you can also leverage. Having like a hybrid model, let's say you have a 3PL in some countries, and then from to other countries, you can ship directly from China. Also, how to sell apparel products leveraging influencers. Yeah, we do influencers. Influencers, brand ambassadors, like that's main like channel. And we'll be adding the paid advertising. So this brand, for example, we acquired the brand and never had paid advertising and never had Facebook ads. For us, it's like, wow, let's do it. We know how to do that. So we will figure that out. And we have, because of leveraging the influencers, because of leveraging and getting a lot of the content from influencers, then for that reason we have so many like different like UGC and creatives and stuff like that we can use for ads. For a selling angle, it's mostly the messaging, right? We have identified kind of like the messaging that resonates the most, like with customers. So for us, it's like empowering the women, and having them like feel comfortable in their own bodies. And so now we just like, okay, so this is kind of like what people resonate with. This is what is reflected in like marketing. This is what is reflected in on the website. This is what is reflected on pretty everywhere. And so now we start thinking from that perspective, how do we amplify that message even more? And also, how do we test new messages? So we test new messages, we see whether customers like resonating with those. And then if we find anything that resonates more, then we make it our main message, right? Because that message was the product. As Guy said, like Volvo is the safest, whatever, like how your customers see your products among all of the other products that you see, like world's first, so there's this check it out here. Like, this is so interesting. Like, there's this product on the market which is right. It's called the world's first productivity drink. I've seen the ads. It's amazing. So now they position itself this as a they position itself as a like caffeine, like is bad for you, and caffeine is like kind of like, that's why you feel like sleepy afterwards and stuff like this. You have this like boost and then you have a drop. So this is kind of the alternative. They called it the world's first productivity drink. Now all of the kind of like ingredients here are not really like nothing special, right? Like L-theanine, which is like supplement you can buy like in any pharmacy. Then 12 active ingredients, stimulate focus, creativity, energy, motivation, while decreasing stress, oxidation. So you have the matcha, you have the L-theanine there, you have the lime mains mushrooms, you have choline, phosphatidylserine. So all these things you can buy like separately, right? There's nothing special here. Ashwagandha you can buy separately, turmeric you can buy separately in supplement, honey, right? So pretty much what they have done is they've taken some of the like proven kind of like elements, they put it in one bottle, you drink it, and that's it. And then they named it the world's first productivity drink. So how you can name your product? Now they created their own like category from this world's first productivity drink. Like they didn't call it like energy drink, because if you call it the energy drink, now you're getting into like category with like Monster and Red Bull, and like you get into very competitive categories. So you gotta create your own blue ocean, right? Guys, let me know if that makes sense. So we're focusing also on Amazon channel. We're thinking about building brand mainly on Amazon. I think Amazon is amazing. But we want to figure out like direct to consumer Shopify first. We want to get it to at least like 50. Like I think we can get it to like 50 million, 50 to 100 through there. Like, so if you think about like, let me show you another brand in the same category that like we're entering here. So Gymshark is massive. Gymshark does like, I don't know, like 300, 500 million dollars a year in revenue, and they're not on Amazon. They're not even on Amazon. There are all of these like copycats here from China, like all of these brands, like trying to obviously fight, for that category. Like it's like $20, like leggings and like shitty margins. But like you can see Gymshark is not here, and Gymshark is doing that tremendous volume, which just shows you kind of like how big the potential is, even without Amazon, right? So obviously Amazon is amazing, but kind of like as a supplementary channel. And if you understand Amazon, if you know how to do it, like this is what you gotta do. You gotta just focus and dominate Amazon. But if you understand better the direct to consumer part, like Shopify, this is what you gotta do first. You gotta do that first, and then you add Amazon to it, because you're creating a lot of awareness. Hey, your brand name is like, let's say, cookies, right? Like cookies. So cookies. People see cookies everywhere. So then people go to Amazon, oh, cookies, and they Google, they search cookies, and now you're there as well. So people feel safe about buying from Amazon. So if they don't buy on your website, they buy from Amazon. And so now you start to expand that ecosystem. But first, for us at least, we want to focus on the Shopify, just figure it out, dominate it, absolutely destroy it, and then we'll go to Amazon. All right. What are you guys doing now with detailed targeting automatically being on Facebook? I have no idea, man. I have no idea. Again, I'm not managing my ads. You shouldn't manage your ads. Like, it's not a deal breaker. It's not something that will take company from like no profitability to hyper profitability. This is not it. This will not be that massive impact. So especially if there's nothing you can do about it, then you just roll with it. Like in life, you're given like things that you cannot fully control. You cannot control the president. You cannot control like who's in charge. You cannot control like the laws. You cannot control whether Facebook decides to shut down your account for no reason. Sometimes that happens as well. You cannot control like detailed targeting. So you just roll with it. You get it. All right, cool. Let's do it. Let's do something different. Let's adjust. Let's evolve, right? The people who've been selling horses, when the cars have been like introduced, those people got fucked like seriously, right? And if they didn't get from like horses market into the market of cars, they got fucked. And the same was like when Amazon started selling books on the internet, Barnes and Nobles, I mean, they said that they were like delusional, right? And that was like, stupid idea. But then, where's like Barnes and Nobles, where is Amazon now, right? Expanding that category, like dominating that category, and then moving and adding other categories and just completely dominating. So, like, you just given their reality, you should just deal with it. Like, if you're given some options, okay, so this is what happens. This is how we this is what we do with it. And if we can do nothing about it, then we just do something different. So, and there's nothing even like to think about. It should not be like even like distracting. Kind of like distracting it should not occupy your thoughts. All right, guys. I will have to wrap up. People have been asking. People have been asking about the e-commerce scaling secrets program. So, guys, if you want to build a brand, if you want to be in the community of people who are, building brands, people who already do volume like 7-8 figures, you want to have pretty much like shortcuts to any business problem that you have, and the community of people that are like absolutely destroying it. Then you gotta just comment scale below. One of our team members will reach out to you and will give you like more information about it. Comment scale below, so we can give you more information. We'll have live meetings starting next year. So high-level people coming together, networking with each other, learning from each other, like sharing insights that could be like life-changing. So we got into like 2 masterminds last week, in our company, because you got to be like in the right community of people. If you want to level up, like, I mean, if you want to like hide behind your laptop, fine. That's like just that just you'll hit the ceiling eventually, right? But if you want to level up and be in community of people who are absolutely destroying it, then in e-commerce space, like e-commerce scaling secrets is the best community, right? People told me many times that they've been in other masterminds, been in other like communities, and e-commerce scaling secrets is the best one of them. So if you need help with scaling your business, if you need just like common sense feedback from people who've done it, who've scaled businesses before, who've been where you want to be, just comment scale below, and one of our team members will reach out, will give you more information. We're very selective who we allow into the community, because we want to just, it's very strong. It's like everyone is like-minded, everyone is on the same page, and everyone is moving in the same direction, scaling businesses, overcoming all of the challenges that we deal with on a daily basis as business owners. And so just comment scale below, and one of our team members will reach out to you. What do you think about selling digital products? I'll answer this one and we'll wrap up, guys. What do you think about selling digital products? No shipping, no return, no headache. It's good, man. Absolutely, absolutely wonderful. And every product pretty much, so let's say even if we're selling like let's say we're selling the apparel, right? If people trust your brand and people buy from you, if people like have this like people trusting your brand, right? If your repeat purchasers are high, let's say 20-30% or more, then you can definitely go into like digital products. Because if you go like into like digital products, let's say we sell apparel, right? So we can do the apparel, the challenge. Let's say we do like 7-day challenge on how to lose weight, or we have like 7-day challenge on how to have like higher confidence, or we have like a 7-day challenge with some live training with some person behind it, some ambassador on style, maybe on how to kind of like choose the clothes and stuff like that, right? So whatever that is, we can kind of like always tie it as long as the audience in that market and it serves them on some other level, on deeper level, we can always introduce a digital product. So think about like what products you have, or like what products, what niche you're in. If you're in security niche, right? for example, you're selling the security camera. Like, think like maybe, you can sell like how to protect your house, like 20 steps to protect your house, like, or like a free course on how to like protect your house from like from people, from thieves, right? Like whatever that is, but you can tie it into like some other, like there's like survival products, survival like information products. If you look into it, there's so many of them, right? But you start building the business model, right? Like that could be your blue ocean, right? So not only you selling people the direct product they can use, but also you selling them the training and all the resources that they can use to use those products and some other products with greater outcome. So if you start thinking about that, you start building very profitable business. Your profit margins explode because with digital products they're a lot higher. There's no I don't know who commented that. Very good question. There's no cost of there's almost no cost. It's like one-time cost. There's no shipping, no return. You'll have few percent returns. That's inevitable, but you start layering it. So physical products and digital products is absolutely killer business model that every, like many successful businesses like Lady Boss, for example, successful business, self-funded, like no venture capital, no nonsense. That's how they grew up, right? Like to this level, like multiple 8-figure, probably will do like 9 figures pretty soon. So guys, we'll have to wrap up. Thank you for the call. You guys are absolutely awesome. The questions you asked are very, very good. And here, custom packaging worth it. Absolutely worth it. Like even it costs you like $1 if it reduces your return rates. Like think about how much returns are costing you. Think how about like chargebacks are costing you, right? So you gotta just like make sure and design the custom packaging so it doesn't get damaged on the way to the customer, right? Because if it ships from China, for example, and then on customs, like they always throw stuff, and then it comes with this like banded package, it's not the best experience. So saying how we can eliminate that. So even if it's custom, it also must be protected from all of those damages along the way. Guys, you're awesome. Thank you so much. The questions you asked were absolutely incredible, and I will be wrapping up, guys. And thank you very much for joining. You guys are absolutely amazing. See you guys next week.